Hello and welcome. I'm Joe Hendry and welcome to What Culture Gaming, and today we're going to talk about glitches, because glitches are annoying, they're irritating and they're inexcusable, and they produce a variety of emotions from anger, frustration, but they can also evoke another emotion. Now, we've told you about the infamous glitches, we've told you about the game-breaking glitches, but today we're going to talk about the funniest glitches. So without further ado, this is the 10 funniest video game glitches.
In at number 10 from Red Dead Redemption, it's the hydraulic horse carriage. Now this provides us with a little bit of comic relief in the game, as you can see your horse carriage bounce up and down with similar hydraulics that you would expect from GTA San Andreas, but beware, if you try and get on this carriage, it could launch you into oblivion. In at number 9 from Madden 15, it's the Tiny Titan. When this game was first released, players realised that sometimes when they played as linebacker Christian Kirksey, there's a chance he could be represented as a very miniature version of himself, about the same size as a squirrel, let's say. But the interesting thing about this is that Kirksey had the exact same tackling power as he would if he was his normal size, which provided some hilarious moments for gamers. It might not have been so hilarious if you've been waiting your whole time to be in the video game, all your colleagues are in the video game, and when the game arrives you can't wait to see how they've represented you in the game, only to find you're a miniature version of yourself. But to his credit, Kirksey took it on the chin, he had a laugh with it, and the game developers even created a trailer all about the Tiny Titan, so it flipped around in his favour in the end. Number 8, from NBA 2K15, it's the facial scanning. They had the best of intentions. It was a feature that would allow you to warp yourself into the game so you could play as yourself against the computer and your friends and get that truly immersive experience. But what they actually did was create a feature that would take your lovely face and create a horrible, demonic, nightmarish, disfigured version of it with hilarious results. In at number 7, Scape 3. The game. That's right, we can't narrow this down to just one particular glitch, because this entire game is one giant glitch. You can see your character being randomly launched across the map, being contorted in a variety of horrible ways, as well as moving objects that will inevitably land upon you or other people. There's glitches absolutely everywhere, and it just feels that the team just kind of gave up when it came to the testing stage. Some say it's game breaking, we say it's hilarious. In at number 6, from Grand Theft Auto 4, it's the car wash. Now, I know what you were all expecting. You were all thinking I was going to say that it's the swing set, and if you drive into it, it will launch you across the map. And that's great, but you've heard it a million times on a million different top 10 videos, and there's a glitch in there that we feel just doesn't get enough attention, and it is the car wash. Let me explain this one. There's a car wash in the game that if you drive in just slowly enough so that the game doesn't like it, it will not only trap your car in the car wash, it will then proceed to bash it around and throw it around like it weighs absolutely nothing, usually eventually setting you on fire, and it's just pretty hilarious because, well, that's not really what car washes are for, are they? In at number 5, from FIFA 13, it's the giant limbless goalie. You know, a lot of people take football seriously, and in a game that's all about realistic sports simulation, there is nothing more inappropriate than a giant limbless headless goalie. It's a very loyal creature that will dive into the ball at the expense of its own health to make sure that you get the bragging rights of winning the game. But did you really think about the implications of that? It lives its life in absolutely agonizing pain just so that you can get some brownie points for winning a game or two. Put it out of its misery. Number 4, from Battlefield 3, it's the worm glitch. Now, to be fair, this one is from the beta version, so you know they've patched it and fixed it, but it's just too hilarious not to include. This game is all about those tense battle situations and it's life and death decision making and precision, which means it's kind of off-putting when one of your fellow soldiers turns into a human worm. That's right, watching horror as one of your teammates turns into a worm squirming around the map, and to make things even more distracting, when it's time for him to shoot, he will attach the gun to his bottom. In at number 3, from The Sims 3, it's deformed infants. Why, Lord? Why? Why would you allow this to happen? Because if you decide to use third-party content with The Sims 3, sometimes it can result in this horrifying glitch, something that you have to wonder how the developers could even allow something like this to take place in their game. If this glitch affects you, it can massively elongate the arms and legs of who it affects, and for some reason it affects kids more than other characters. I mean, Sims, what are you playing at here? It's kind of disgusting and horrible, but at the same time it is quite funny to see your sim have to cope with the reality of raising a monster demon child. In at number 2 from Assassin's Creed Unity, it's losing face. Do you see what we did there? We said losing face because in the game your character can quite literally lose his face. What can happen in this game is that while you're listening to the tense cutscene that's setting up the missions and the story, when it pans to your character, sometimes the face just won't fully load, leaving just the eyes and teeth. So it looks like a character from Mars Attacks rather than Assassin's Creed. Depending on which cutscenes are affected, this can produce some truly hilarious results and really puts a new slant on the story. Number 1 from Heavy Rain, Sean! We're not going to give away any spoilers here, but those who have played it know that Heavy Rain builds to a pretty epic conclusion, but sometimes what can happen in the final cutscenes of the game is if you press X, your character will say, Sean! But a particular glitch can allow it to happen over and over and over and over and over again, meaning that at any point through the tragic cutscenes of the game, you can shout Sean to your heart's content for no reason, making it a totally inappropriate and hilarious conclusion to Heavy Rain. We hope you've enjoyed this video. I've been Joe Hendry and you can follow me at Joe S. Hendry on Twitter. Now also make sure you like, share and subscribe. We hope you've enjoyed this video and we shall see you next time.